So let's talk through now how you get started with your crochet. Firstly, you'll take your ball of yarn. I like to start with a chunky yarn when someone's brand new to crochet because it's a bit thicker and it makes it easier to work with. Before you even start using your yarn, I just wanted to go through the fact that there's some information that's helpful on your yarn wrapper. So on this one, it tells you here that it's a chunky yarn. And then if you have a look at these symbols on the side of it, it will tell you what size hook or needles to use with it. So on this one, you've got a picture of some knitting needles. Now this does correspond also to hook sizes. So underneath it says 6mm for and it looks like it's just knitting needles, but you can also use that as a guide to which size of crochet hook to use. So start with a 6mm hook for your chunky yarn. If you're making something that you're going to wash, you've got some washing instructions on there, and you've also got the length that you've got of your yarn in this ball of yarn as well as the weight. So you're going to take off your wrapper. People often ask me how they get the yarn out. So it will be tucked in. Some people like to work from the centre of their yarn, but I always work on the outside. That's a matter of choice. The reason is that I've often ended up with a big tangle when I've tried to go from the centre, so I now just pull the yarn from the outside. So that was tucked into the end there, and I've just pulled it out ready to start. Right, so I've got my yarn, I've got my hook. The first thing you need to do is pick up your hook. So there's two main holds that people use in crochet. There is the knife hold where your hand is on top of the hook, and then there is the pencil hold where your hand is underneath. So the best thing to do is to pick up your hook instinctively. Just grab it and then look at how you're holding it. And there's no right or wrong. You'll probably find it's either the knife hold with your hand on top, your thumb on the front and fingers behind, or the pencil hold with your hand underneath the hook. I work with the knife hold, so you'll see me working with my hand on top of the hook, but that's not to say that's the right way. You can do either way. Once you've got your hook, the first thing you need to do is make a slip knot. So to make a slip knot, I'll put the tail of the yarn on the palm of my hand and loop the other end over the top. So you've got a loop on your hand with the working end of the yarn coming over the top of your hand. Get your hook, put your hook through that loop, and use this hooky part to hook onto the yarn that's over the back of your hand and put it through to the front. Then you're going to pull that loop up, holding onto the tail so that it tightens up. You've got a big loop at the moment, so just pull the end that's attached to the ball so that it tightens up a little bit, but not too much. You don't want this loop to be too tight. You want a little bit of space underneath it. And that's your slip knot done.